はい。 Cool. Go ahead and get started. Yeah, fix the stream here in frame. Cool. Alright. Sweet. Lewis, if you'd like to sort of kick it off by maybe giving a quick introduction about yourself and what you'll be sort of presenting today for everyone that is tuning in.
Right. Well, I am Luis Cordova. Right now, I'm a graphic designer and 3D artist. Right now, I'm working by WASIS and developing things 3D related to the to hopefully jump into the Webaverse with everything, with everyone, no? And I usually most of the stuff I have been doing is 3D related, but I studied graphic design, and I have seen that um, as popularity of the metaverses grow, and we have new digital virtual places to use images and well basically that to create new stuff or visual things that are inside of that. It also increases the need to create things that or I mean graphic media or graphic products that are uh, that are meant to fulfill a purpose, communication purpose. You know, just not they are not just decorations or yeah, we need visual things that are not just decorations. We need things that are going to communicate specific messages.
Yeah, similar to like the real world too, is like you see like logos and ads and everything and really defined sort of presence, and I think we'll similarly see that in like virtual worlds and stuff.
Yeah, we basically we will need more precise visual communication tools, and not just artistic approaches, right? So this is what I thought. I wanted to give you all this graphic design introduction, so you can understand the principles behind the visual communication, and how you will also be able to see how it's somehow different from an artistic approach to making things. And all the principles in regarding logotypes or typography or information design that you need to take into consideration to really create a effective visual media.
Okay, hell yeah. And so, what I see, we are going to be sort of focusing on logos, typography, and then information design as well. And I'm excited to hear a bit more about the typography and logos for sure, because that's something I need to work on.
Yeah, well, let's start with a bit more of the graphic design theory. Graphic design, its purpose is to create effective visual messages, right? It doesn't focus on the tools, or I mean on knowing the software, or in knowing how to draw something or the other. It focuses on using the tools to achieve the most effective visual way to transmit a messages. So for graphic design, you usually you usually it's valuable to have a lot of skills. I mean, with software like f- here I'm using Illustrator, which is a vectorial. Uh, is that what it's called? I mean, it uses vectors to to um, work. Let's see at the vectors. And if we see in Photoshop, we use pixels or raster. And, and well, if you could also have a photography or photography software or 3D software, but you will be using it to produce a visual message to
Hmm.
you want to convey, and you will have to have all these tools available to you, and you will choose which one fits best for the message you want to create, right?
Hmm.
So well, usually for logotypes, well, let's think about its purpose. The purpose of a logotype is to identify uh, something, to distinguish it.
Yeah, because you don't want your logos to sort of blend in with other brands and stuff as well. So.
Right. You don't want it to blend, and you also want it to make it clear how what yours does is different than the other one, right?
Hmm.
It will it goes to with this another point, which is let's say attract attract the right public. And it has to speak to the right uh, public. Do you want, or audience do you want to, do you want it to reach it, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Because let's say Toyota is not gonna be making its logo to attract the same people that let's say Ferrari, right?
Yeah. Okay.
And so identify what an entity or a brand or a company does, or a person, distinguish it from its similars in the same field, and attract their the people they desire to attract, right?
Hmm.
So in order to fulfill these purposes, you have all the visual elements you can work with to create that what to reach those goals. The and here you have well, everything you can see, like colors, structures, shapes. Let me make this smaller. Uh, Also symbols, which are like things that are already like very um, established, like
Hmm.
for example a cross from the Red Cross for medic stuff, or the dove, that means peace, right? So
Yeah,
you
they're
also play
very
with
common sort of icon.
established shapes. Yes.
Very true.
Uh, Structure, color, shapes. Well, So for that, I mean, these are like the pieces you get to play with. Uh, for this, there's also a lot of books and theory and stuff. But basically, for color, you have many books that speak of the psychology of color, like
Hmm.
the like I mean, uh, how do you call it when? What's the word for when you interview a lot of people?
Like outgoing or
Like a poll, like you interview a lot of people on a specific matter to study the answers.
hmm. I can't think of the word on the spot.
Let me quickly check it in translator. Um, a survey.
Oh, okay, 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 okay.
Yeah, and these are books that made surveys on the perception of different colors uh, by different people of different places, right?
Hmm.
And they compile this book which says that, for example, the history of blue color and also the associations the associations people have with this color, like for example water or tranquility or technology. And for green is it could be money or stability or nature and so on. And you have all these messages that you could convey with all these different colors, right?
Hmm.
You can you can also search the web for meanings of different colors to give you help you help you with that.
Yeah,
And
I've done
also,
that a couple of times.
yeah, yeah, yes, you want to do that because you want to convey certain messages, and you need to use the right colors.
Hmm.
And and also consider that well, individual colors have their own individual perception or messages, but also when you combine them, they become something else, right? Or they'll like they could fuse their meanings, like blue plus green. You could think of the earth, right?
Hmm.
Uh, or also, let's say red plus black, you could think of maybe something violent. Or but if you see red plus pink, you will think of something maybe related to love, or like that.
Yeah, more sort of relationship or love related. I could see that.
So then apart from color, you can also play with structures. For this, here I have this example of a logo I made. um, Structure means meaning the like the composition, or yeah, the geometric composition you use to um, compose or to position and scale the elements inside this format.
Hmm.
Here, for example, I use the let me see, let me check how it's called in English.
I think I've seen that diagram, but yeah, I can't think of the name of it right now.
The golden ratio.
Don't get it, golden ratio.
Golden ratio. Yeah. Uh, well, in according to the theory, and well, the study of nature, you can see that the golden ratio is something that appears in nature. For example, in the way the branches of a tree sprout, or the leaves, um, or different things is uh, uh, appear this golden ratio, whether in the angle it is rotating, or in the scale it is of its parts.
Mhm. Yeah, the golden ratio is something I've heard about a lot as I've been in the art world. It definitely appears all over the place, like nonstop, for sure, too.
Yeah, and the theory is that that structure constructed, and a structure constructed with the golden ratio, creates a more harmonic, or more, or feels more alive, right?
Hmm.
Because as we see it in nature, when we see it in something graphic, we see it more alive than if we use um like like normal, or more, or common common ratios, like 1 to 2, or 1 to 3, you know.
Hmm.
Mm,
And then even if that one's like super simple, like the OC one, it does sort of like have a style, and it sort of distinguishes itself as well.
yeah, well, it also helps you to uh, uh, like to have a more precise composition of what you're doing,
Hmm.
and, and makes the elements feel more connected, more unified. Like, for example, here in this logo, we see a bit of this connection with the icon and the text, because it feels like pasted over it. But here, the logo and the icon are giving their are like mm, having their own spaces,
Hmm.
and one points to the other.
I feel like that one's definitely more defined too, and gives a better message off.
I'm sorry, what?
The blue one, I like how more defined it is compared to the other one as well.
Oh, yeah. I think because this one was made like with some automatic processing.
Hmm.
Here, here in Illustrator, there's some automatic processing that transform an image to a vectorial image.
Oh, okay, okay, I see.
And this where you see some like weird shapes like missing.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, well, you have also shapes. Um, you could have geometric shapes, and with rectangular angles, but you can have also well, these both are regular. Let's try something like this. But you have also these organic shapes, like they are irregular, but this this like transmit a sensation of, or a feeling of softness,
Hmm.
or yeah, softness, while this could make use to produce a sensation of something more mm, well like defined, or
Like a
even
construction working or something for like the box one. I could see.
yeah. And so you can also play with these sort of shapes, the ones with rectangular angles, or that are very uniform on the organic shapes, all in taking into consideration what you want to communicate, right?
Mm-hmm.
For well, you have also symbols or signs that are already established. In this example, I use the dog. Um, Here for this, my personal logo, I wanted to create some sort of seal with these rings.
Yeah, I was gonna
Like,
mention I really like that one too.
yeah, for example, this one I imagine it as something I will use for like branding products. So I will put my seal in those kind of products, right?
Mm-hmm.
But this other is tough to be in. What's the word in? Let me check.
Like more
In
professional.
labels in tags for clothing.
Oh, okay, okay, I see.
Um, and this other is thought to be inside official documents.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, basically you, in order to reach these goals, you play with these um, values with or variables to to find what better communicates what you want to communicate.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, graphic design definitely has a lot more sort of rules or um, specific things that you'd want to follow, or I guess guidelines, um, to sort of work best as well.
Yeah. The good thing is you can always check the web for tips or graphic design or how to do things. I
Mm-hmm.
think they are pretty popular. Um, um, let's let's also jump to Chrome. Let me check. We'll search Google. Uh, you can see you see black, right? On
Yeah, it's
screen.
just a black screen. And then
Chrome.
Kristen also said, "I like your personal logo so nice."
Ah, thanks. So here, for example, you have also principles for photography you can use in for composition. In photography, you have the rule of thirds. Thirds, like you divide an image in three horizontally and vertically, and the theory says that the points where the lines cross is where the eye usually focuses on.
Okay.
Um, and so when you take a photography or when you use you create a composition, you can make sure that the important thing you want um, to get the focus on is on these points. Here you also have the direction, like because you have these lines here, these create a direction for the eyes to follow, and that those lines were um, we in this photo are making us focus on the subject.
Mm-hmm.
And here too, and uh, these things create a direction. And here as well. So yeah, for composition, you can also check other principles, especially photography.
Photography, yeah, it definitely looks like it uses it a lot.
Uh,
Maybe that's
and
why I
al-
suck so bad at taking photos.
well, um, I also recommended to use it for uh, 3D renders because at the end of the day, you are controlling everything in the scene.
Hmm.
So you could also control how the final image is composed, and you could use these principles to make sure your important subject is where people will focus more, or that the lines or the shapes inside the render in the scene make us focus on the subject or
Hmm.
the important thing. So let's go back to Illustrator. So for typography, uh, typography too is like a tool for communication. Uh, I mean, you have to consider that is a tool that someone will use, or you want someone to use, right? Or well, it could be you also. So in typography, we have different uh, classifications for typography. You could search for those online. There are various authors with different classifications.
Hmm.
But the most common you will see is the sans serif, the serif.
And when you mention typography, have you ever made your own type, like whole sort of like font set?
Yeah, this one I
Oh, this
made.
okay. This one you made? Hell yeah, that's pretty cool. I've always wanted to do that. It sounds fun.
Yeah, I'll tell you about some software and some things to look for when making the typography. Um, and well, sans serif displays. This is the most basic classification you may find. But if you go deep into it, you will find a lot of more types of classifications. So for sans serif, you know that these are fonts that don't have like Arial, and that have like very geometric shapes, and like usually their endings are like square
Hmm.
or rectangular, like here and here and here. But for serif fonts, you have, let me, you could have these sort of endings for the characters, like they can have all sort of shapes, and these different shapes convey like a different, like they give them a different style or a different feeling.
Hmm.
Usually sans serif feels more like geometric and simple. Serif feels um, like somehow traditional, or
Like
like
fancy.
elegant,
Yeah.
or well, although all these sort of minuscule re you could give it to it according how their shapes look.
Hmm.
For display fonts, what you have is let's see if I have one here. Display fonts are meant to be well, sans serif or serif are mostly used for text, but display is specifically made to for bigger sizes of text. You won't usually use display fonts for a long text because uh, it might be difficult to read.
So like maybe more for like headers and logos it would be used for?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Like for short text, for texts that are short or that are meant to be somehow flashy, or where the shapes of the font are uh, the main mm, subject.
Hmm.
So this one, for example, is like a display, a display font. Uh, I made it inspired in. Well, let me jump back to uh, my portfolio online. Here I have the whole project. Chrome. So it is inspired in this plaque in Puebla, Mexico, with some antique writing. Uh, here
Ooh.
here I constructed it with geometrical shapes. That's what I wanted to do because I noticed it was like very geometrical with some um, rectangular ends, but also some curves inside their shapes, like this and this, some ornaments. And here I constructed it. I tried it to be very geometrical. And here you have how all the characters are constructed, and
That
you
looks
see
crazy.
that this element, the serif, is like a constant that, and also this shape, it appears in other letters, because in the typography, one thing you need to look for is uh, consistency.
That
You,
consistent style throughout it all, yeah.
yeah, it's like the one of the things most important inside the design of typography. So you usually end up, or well, the idea is that you recycle or reuse elements you have here in all the other characters, so it looks consistent, so it looks part of a same family. So for example, the thing here from the H appears in the E, in the F,
The T
in the
too.
I. Also, this little dot appears in some letters.
Sure, yeah, the
Um,
more you look at it, the more you can sort of see it pop up.
and and well, the one thing I learned also, uh, I have, well, this font is something like I made like for a class in university,
Hmm.
and I really didn't think it was mm, like that big of a deal. But at the end of the day, it's not about. I mean, if the font is consistent and it has some sort of personality. I mean, in this case, mine. Let me jump to grammar again. Here, here I use some words. Here it says ornament, traditional, Puebla, wizardry, I think, colonial, quesadilla. So
They have a nice flow to them each, for each one.
yeah, and they like here I'm like expressing the character where I as a creator imagine this font fits, right? But the um, let's remember that in graphic design you are building like a visual message, and maybe someone finds a way to make this style work for another very different meaning that I didn't consider, but
Mhm.
it works perfect for them, right? So a font is that a tool that someone will use, and you have to prepare it to be uh, consistent and visually pleasing as a tool, right? As a communication tool.
Yeah, otherwise it will just kind of throw people off too if other people sort of use it for a different idea.
Yeah. So well, I if for anyone interested, I recommend definitely recommend checking some how to create fonts online. There are I've seen different programs for tablets, but what I use, which is the desktop application, is Font Lab.
Art Lab, okay.
There is also Glyphs, I think, and let me look at. Let me search in Google Images to show you the interface.
Gainsey said, "You're doing wonderful work, and then also consistency is key." I linked
So
them in chat as well for people if they want to check it out. I'm gonna check them out after.
so here you have these all the characters, and you can upload where you usually create the shapes in Illustrator or some other vectorial software. You can see here it is composed by vectors here too, and you basically drop it in or paste it from your vectorial program to the character it belongs. And here you can also check well, create different families with different weights, and you can also check the tracking. I think it's called the tracking, or
So does that mean you don't necessarily have to like draw each one for like bold and all that? It would sort of help with that, or
draw draw which one where.
so like you know how most fonts have like italic, bold.
Oh yeah. Oh no, you usually do have to do manually all these weights, because you as a designer have to make sure that the shapes and behave as they should behave. For
Mhm.
example, take a look at this shape. Here it is very thin, and here too, but this is a ball font. You know this, right? It is very heavy here on the sides. So if I were to automatically make it somehow, this will probably be like super small or disappear or clip in ways that wouldn't want it to do.
Mhm.
So you usually have to create manually all these weights uh, while taking into consideration the shapes you want to convey. In some fonts, the to maintain the structure of the characters, you I forgot what I was gonna say. Mm, mm, mm. But yeah, you have to do it manually because you you have to take care of the places you need to take care of.
Mhm.
So um,
And which program did you use when you made that font?
it was Illustrator. I
Illustrator.
made it here. If you notice that this is very geometric, I use a grid. Let's see. Usually start with a grid. Mm, uh, I mean, a grid like this, but with a lot more divisions.
Mhm.
And so I knew I was putting the geometric shapes in the in places like in constant places, right?
Oh, okay, so you really sort of coordinated it as well. Yeah.
And also that the shapes inside, for example, these circles, have some sort of relation with the whole the size of the whole character. Um, and well, here I did the vectors, this,
Mhm.
and then I uploaded them to or take them, save them to FontLab.
Font Lab. Okay.
And in FontLab, I also here you also have to program the the tracking, or what is it called? The Yeah, I think it's called the tracking, or I don't remember the word. I mean, it's this, like the distance between the characters.
Oh, okay, like the spacing. Yeah.
Yeah, you program that because not all the no no not all characters are going to be even spaced. For example, here the combination of B and A. If you notice here, let's see, they have this distance,
Mhm.
but because they are diagonal, they are already making some sort of distance. Mm, Here it is a bit more. Here it's a lot more,
Oh, I see. Yeah.
and so uh, let's see what will happen if we were to space them as this. You see?
Yeah, the V looks oddly off.
Yeah, so that's why you here in FontLab you can also, well, in all these typography programs you can also change the manually check the space between the letters, the characters. Um, well, let me here like personality or not. Well, I like this here, personality or purpose. Because they are originally made for some purpose, but as I said, someone can use it for some other thing that they think works for them.
Mhm. So kind of like the vibe they give off.
Yeah. So then, well, the people in the chat have any questions of what we have seen?
Yeah, if anyone has any questions, feel free to send them in chat, and I'll definitely relay them as well. So far, we just got a bunch of friends saying hey.
So,
What would you consider being easy? I assume logo, but would it be easier for someone to sort of learn the basics of creating like a well-branded logo, or creating their own typography first, when
um,
first getting into it?
mm, I think typography is pretty easy. Well, having considered this, the like like taking into consideration that it's a tool, the the personality or purpose you want to use it for, like if you want it to be for reading and if you want it to be like for display, like like you want the font to have the main stage in a graphic,
Mm-hmm.
and you consider the consistency, you I think uh, you could start in trying to make stuff with typography, because as I said, it's a tool, and someone may find that specific tool you made useful for the thing they want to convey.
Mm-hmm.
For logotype, you can also start exploring the software, for example, Illustrator, Photoshop, um, and, and exploring or understanding what the different colors convey, what the different shapes also transmit, the different structures you can use to compose this logo.
Yeah, I guess the more you play with it too, the more you can sort of understand those concepts as well.
Yeah, as a graphic designer, you develop like this like mental library of shapes and colors and things that transmit certain message, and you may find an occasion where you can use that specific thing you saw to for this specific logo, because it goes with the thing you want to project, the concepts you want to project.
And then
Yeah,
Christian asked, are you currently learning something new in design at the moment?
in design.
Anything that
mm,
you are learning that maybe you're still sort of getting the idea of, or?
well, yeah, I'm actually uh, well, the over some, I mean, it's been a few years.
Uh-huh.
I've been working on a project for haptic models. Haptic models are, or well, haptic means two things created to assist people with blindness or low sight.
Oh, okay.
So I work with an urbanist and an architect to create a model of the city of Puebla, to an optic model that was 3D printed. And I, as a, or I mean, me as a designer, I propose the shapes or the things to use to better communicate. Uh, I mean, I mean the users are blind people, and they touch their the models with their hands and identify the shapes and identify the buildings are where there is an obstacle or where there is a street, where yeah, the different streets, or where there is a place of interest.
That's really cool. So it's like a sensational map or like a touch map. That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
You said it was 3D printed too?
yeah. I was also I mean, they reached out to me because I was a 3D printer in my university in a department, but I got to use my skills as a graphic designer to find the best shapes or the best structures to communicate what what we wanted to communicate, right?
Mm-hmm.
So even though you see, here I'm creating visual things, I can also transform the communication into tactile or auditive uh, or or use another sensation, right?
Yeah.
But by making sure to identify concepts, to distinguish what it is, to attract to the person I want to attract, and you basically use this communication structure to different, depending of the purpose you want to the purpose and the audience you want to reach.
Dang, that's really cool. How long did that sort of take to get sort of put together and really get that idea across? Sort of making that map and everything.
Oh yeah, it had to be first like um, analyze the streets of the center of the city were surveyed,
Mm-hmm.
and in a plane you the urbanist and the architect signal or mark the streets, the obstacles, the buildings of interest, and then we transform that into a 3D model and then into a 3D printable file. And well, we made some tests and so with the users which shapes weren't easy to read, to feel,
Mm-hmm.
and we made changes till it was functional.
Dang. That's really,
Yeah,
really cool.
yeah. We actually won an international award for that. Like it was good design practices or something like that in English. I don't know, but yeah,
Jeez.
for projects around the globe that address different uh, uh, urbanistic and architectural needs.
Mm. That's really amazing. Hell yeah.
So yeah, uh, yeah, I really um, recommend diving into graphic design, understanding this like communication structure, and know the elements you can use to play to convey what you want to convey in different sorts of visual products, whether it be logotypes or typography or information design, which we can jump into right now.
I see the Wasi's here. Already with the vibe of the posters here is like very happy and joyful, which is cool that you sort of give out.
Uh, yeah, and actually, well, let's start like from the top. Information design, uh, what is that? The design of information, meaning uh, some message, usually long message or long amount or big amount of information you want to convey, and you have to make sure it is easy uh, to understand or to reach its target audience.
Hmm.
So, and just yesterday, I saw this poster, this announcement made by the I think it was Yellowbra, and I saw it in Twitter, and well, it is difficult to read, right? Because
Hmm.
the font is white over a light background. And I proposed it that, well, I told him that it was for this kind of very informative pieces, it's better to always make sure the font uh, contrasts with the background. And here is how it looks after he made some changes. So it is easy to read, and the information is most like, or will reach better to the audience it is speaking to, right?
Yeah, it stands out a lot more for sure.
So these are like the same tools you use here, but you consider for compositions consistent of text and graphics, and, and that work somehow like systems. This one here is a diagram um, of cases for some thesis. So here is divided into, and those two are divided into as well. Uh, the the here the you understand by the direction and the position of the text what they mean, and you can also see that you have what was the word, hierarchy,
The hierarchy, yeah.
yeah, in between the titles and uh, the descriptions, the subtitles, the descriptions. So these are the other elements you have to play with when it comes to information design. We saw color when branding, color contrast. The contrast will always create some sort of visual division in the elements of the composition. So sometimes you need a contrast, but sometimes you may want to some elements to blend with the background, right?
Yeah.
So you play with those. Now hierarchy is like that.
I think so, yeah. I'll double check right now.
Like hierarchy of the information. You have here your
Yeah,
the
you got
space
it right.
the space you want to work, right? This rectangle, and in this rectangle you are going to put elements at different scales and different positions, and you well, in this example here, you notice that here by WASI's classification program is in big and then in bold also, and in some colors that stand out. Now the descriptions are in smaller fonts, and this text that is like secondary is in blue. Here you have some sort of focus here in one WASI with the color. Here you have another text in with hierarchy, and so on and so forth. And also the illustrations aren't taking the full space of the composition.
Yeah, they're sort of like helping fill that space.
Yeah, they are like complementary. They are not taking the protagonism.
Hmm.
So that's what you play with in information design. Also composition, which is the same we saw here with the structure and with photography, like different structures you can use to compose in this space you have the elements you want. Well, you have also the typography that you have to make sure to use or yeah, they use the best that fulfills or the one that feels best to convey what you want and the one that fits best the visual or the personality of the brand, right?
Hmm. Yeah, sort of
Imagine,
going back to like to typography as well.
yeah, imagine if you saw this with serif, like super elegant font, and it wouldn't feel right, right? Right?
It'd be a little silly.
And so, well, which other elements? Well, also the graphics.
And then Frank asked, have you ever tried Affinity Designer on the PC or iPad?
Affinity Designer?
Yeah.
Uh, no. Let me do a quick Google search to see what it is.
I think I've seen it on the iPad. I haven't tried it too much.
uh, it's vectorial. Looks vectorial. Is it? Mhm. See, yeah, I think it's vectorial. Also a vectorial illustration software, and like Illustrator or like GIMP. GIMP is open source, for example,
Uh,
and uh, yeah, the principles for working with those are pretty much the same.
oh, okay.
Like shapes, you can work with nodes and don't deform if you make them super small or super big. Um, in contrast with raster or bitmap drawing, like in Photoshop, where your image is limited by the resolution of your canvas, right?
Hmm.
So yeah, here graphics and illustration also making this or working this in a way that feels or fits best the message. Here all the wasis are like well, like basically cute, like wasis,
Yeah.
like amicable, uh, nice. And there, imagine it would be very different if we saw something like. Let me see if I can paint something quick here.
Yeah, the current font matches the sort of like outgoing, cute, sort of comic-y style of the Wassies too.
Yeah, and it is also well this like graphic media. This announcement is well, it's a single composition, but it is also connected to the overall image projected with the by the brand, right?
Hmm.
So you also put make your this thing related to the original brand to to create some feeling of consistency in the information. It would be very weird if a brand very cute and very girly, for example, suddenly posted an announcement that looked like a metal band announcement, right?
Yeah.
Like with lots of red and black and these uh, super weird typographies that metal band uses. Yeah. So it is also plays into the consistency of the whole brand. Uh, well, basically it. This is one what I wanted to show you, and well, to sort of remind you that I believe that as the metaverses develop, there will be more of a need to create graphic media that effectively conveys a message you want send, to transmit,
Mhm.
and not just decorative elements in the environment, right? So it just doesn't have to look make things that look good inside a environment, but things that fulfill a communication purpose and that really have a function in the place they are put.
I think like the more people get into like virtual spaces, the more it will be very fast paced too. So I think it's good to have like a very stand out sort of logo and message with your sort of brand. Can help sort of make sure that you do continue to stay out and can sort of attract more people as well.
Yeah, and that you speak to the audience you want to speak, you clearly identify with your logo what you do, what your brand does, and you know how to distinguish it from all the others doing something similar or the same.
Heck yeah. Does anybody have any questions regarding what has been shown so far? You can definitely answer any questions. Well, and so when you said you went to school for graphic design, correct?
Yes.
How did that go? How is school for graphic design and stuff like that?
Well, I at first I was planning to go to digital art,
Mm-hmm.
but they do well basically digital 2D art and 3D stuff. But I ended up in graphic design, and I love graphic design because uh, I understood the graphic design. Its purpose is more like a it's more of a communication purpose than a creating purpose, right? So you create the things you create fulfill a purpose, um, and have a function of a functionality. Whereas in digital art or where in most of the artistic approaches, you focus on creating and in projecting something you want to convey, or something, yeah, something you yourself want to convey.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas in graphic design, I can take a message a person, a client, a user wants to convey or wants to understand, and I apply all these principles to know how to configure this message, this visual message, to better transmit that information. I really love like creating stuff that has a functionality and a purpose, and that fulfills a goal.
Yeah, I mean, I can make art, but like the idea of graphic design and having like everything sort of laid out and sort of really defined is something I definitely still struggle with. I'm very sporadic, so I definitely agree. Graphic design is a very great sort of tool to learn as well.
Yeah, because well, at the end of the day, it's like as an structure that where you have lots of things to play with, and very defined, and things you can search, and you just need to like configure or like the initial input, like I want to make a logo to identifies me that goes with my personality, that attracts this kind of people,
Mm-hmm.
or that conveys this sort of values or concept of messages, and then you play with all of this to achieve that goal you want.
Okay. Sweet. Um, I mean, is there anything else that maybe you'd want to show us regarding graphic design, or um,
Mm,
doesn't look like we have any questions at the moment?
well, maybe this icon system. Just speak a bit about it. This is like an icon system. Me and a team for a thesis make for a touristic place in Cuba,
Mm-hmm.
and this identifies the places. If you notice, each icon has its well, we call this the positive version and the negative version.
Oh, okay,
Uh,
okay.
uh, Usually, we use it like that. The positive is the white version of something, and the negative is the black version of something. They could be logos, for example, and you make it like this because you are thinking that they will be used, or they might be used in different surfaces, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I will be using this for surfaces that are white or maybe black, and then the other for the opposite. So you can see that there's also like a process of thinking where this graphic I am making, where this visual product I am making will be used.
I think it saves a lot of time when you think sort of ahead like that too. Um, and we don't really have to go back and remake that icon, for example. You do sort of have both of those options available and made.
Yeah, um, and I'm going on that theme also. For example, we have this announcement that is meant to be digital, but if I had planned it for it to be physical, I will also take into consideration the size it will have printed, and
Mm-hmm.
if I can put more information because it will be very big, or if it will be very small, how big I can make the composition, right?
True, yeah, because yeah, printing it out, maybe if it's like too much information, might scare people off. So you might wanna, if like it's like too small, for example. That's definitely good to think about.
Yeah, yeah, like planning where your visual product will be placed. And well, let me see if I have something else. Well, yeah. Let's go a bit back to branding.
Mm-hmm.
Here I had this. Well, this logo I made. This one was made for a student movement. We had some protests in Mexico. Some student protests in Mexico because some students were killed, and
Oh,
well,
okay.
we made people started to organize, and eventually this organization required some sort of identification, right?
Mm-hmm.
Any sort of organization, it may require a visual identificator to convey why to convey their values and their messages and who they are visually.
Yeah.
So, well, this one is the one that was before. This one is the new version. Here I have a selection of colors, and well, it's and a style of illustration too.
Mm.
A selection of typography that I thought will fit nicely this organization. And here in branding, you can also make patterns. I made this pattern like a well. Here I described it. This pattern is presented as a way of giving importance to the messaging exposed by the university students in posters made during the student protest. So
Wow.
all of these were from posters that the students made during the protest.
Okay.
And I created this pattern, and you can create these sort. These patterns or illustrations function as some sort of complementary visual element to your brand.
And is this considered like a brand kit essentially?
Brand kit?
Like sort of laying it out in this layout as you have it? Or what would you consider this sort of portfolio, I guess, display?
Well, yeah, like also here. Well, let me go to the pattern. Let me go back to that. So here you also have these illustrations that function as some sort of secondary or complementary element, and you can use the colors, the typography, the icons, the elements to compose new graphic products related to the brand.
Mm-hmm.
So for that is valuable to make some sort of secondary or complementary visual resources so you can implement in different things that are related to the brand.
Yeah, and they sort of match across the whole sort of identity of that brand too. I like that.
This sort of presentation, here is like my Behance, and here basically you can upload the image as you want them. So if I as a designer have full control of how I upload these images, I can work them to look nicely, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I make them like this. Like I could have just uploaded the images like that, like the logo, the icon, the colors, and the text, but I composed all these images into Illustrator to form this sort of presentation that looks nice.
Yeah, it looks very nice. I like it.
So that's like, as a designer or as a visual communicator, you have to take into account that you create or you have full control of what the message you are creating will project or how will it look, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like in the same in 3D, like you have full control of the lights, of the materials, the position of the camera, the animations. So you can play with those to make it look nice or make it look like you want it to look.
Heck yeah. Yeah, it looks really nice. And then Christian said, will you share your Behance link Everyone can give you a follow as well.
Oh, sure. Let me. What?
Or if you want to link it in our Discord, I can put it in the Twitch chat.
Let me. There, I put it in the.
Oh, okay, perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's go. Let's maybe go back to this. This one was for the other brand, the OC Moda brand. Here you can see the objectives I set were identify, distinguish, and attract the audience, and also the attributes to project or the concept to project. Here I said elegance, exclusivity, high quality, Mexican, extrovert, uh, vanguard, I think, and and so I work all these elements I told you, all this structure, looking to fulfill these purposes and looking to project these elements. I mean, everything in the design is gonna be in function to this, the objectives you want to fulfill. So this was the past logo, the new logo, the new structure, the alternatives, because you will have, as I say, with the positive and negative illustration, the icons, you will have different surfaces where you want to put that brand, and maybe sometimes you will need this one that is white over black, but you will sometimes you will need this that is only black over white, or you will have it over yellow, green, and purple. And here you notice I changed the the letter, the logo here isn't white nor black. It is another of the identity of the colors of the brand. So you can play with also the colors you have set, depending on how they best look.
Yeah, you have a lot of options for that one too. I like that.
Let me. Well, this one is another pattern we made. This brand is like a clothing brand, and we made this relation with the high quality sewing, like the I don't know the word, but it's supposed that high quality clothes have at least 5 threads of that bind the elements in the clothes together.
Okay.
And so here we have 5 threads and the colors of the brand, and it looks like at the same time like elegant and exclusive, like a bit with also doesn't look boring. And you, as you can see, it becomes a complementary element that we can easily use in other supports or applications.
Yeah, it has a very well-rounded flow to it all.
So I think that, well, I think that will be it. I don't think I have much to show you here.
Yeah, no, that's okay. Yeah, if you are sort of finished, we can definitely wrap it up. I want you to sort of stretch yourself out. Yeah, if anyone has any questions to end it in chat, feel free to sort of ask, And then Lewis, if you'd like to sort of share any of your links as well, I think that'd be cool as well.
But yeah.
And Time asked about scene building. Those are Monday streams, so definitely tune in on Monday if you'd like to learn a bit more about that as well. But yeah, thank you for sort of taking the time to talk over what you know about graphic design and teaching us a bit of a few, or I guess a few tips as well to sort of hop into it a bit more with understanding as well. Yeah, I really do appreciate that.
Yeah, well, I think there will be also an upcoming stream later about 3D printing, or well, 3D modeling and preparing files for 3D printing that I'll make in the future.
Hell yeah. I'm excited for that because I got a 3D printer at home too. Yeah,
Oh,
I'd love to learn more about what you've been printing and stuff.
nice.
Hell yeah. So I'll go ahead and wrap up the stream. Thank you everybody for tuning in. I hope everyone has a good day. Again, we stream on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And yeah, everybody thank Luis as well for sort of sharing with us. But yeah, thank you everybody. Go ahead and end the stream here. Hope everybody has a good day.